2nd, 2008. And Colorado late the night before, they decided to go with Freeland. Pretty good left-handed pitcher, 2.85 ERA. Only going on 3 days rest, though, which a lot of times teams will do that during the playoffs. Usually over a large period of time. It backfires. Sometimes it works over just one time. It was the first time he's ever done that. Seemed to work out pretty good for them. I guess a combination of him being a good pitcher, throwing a lot of good strikes, to Cubs just their hitting sometimes gets anemic. It's been unfortunate the second half of the year, and turned out to be a pretty good pitcher stool. Lester early was concerning very early. Then he got a lot better. He walked the first batter. Wasn't getting the pitches that he normally gets through the first couple batters. Second batter, it's 3-1. Then that guy, it's always scary when you get down 3-1. Gets a pitch that he can hit. Hits a double. Gets stuck in the ivy, which that saved the run at the time. Could have been a triple with an RBI, but at the time, second and third, no outs, and Lester grinded through. He gave up a sacrifice fly. He did leave that other guy at third with one out. Got through the inning. So we're down 1-0 early. Not the start we wanted, but it's only 1-0. You would think we could score more than one run, right? But Lester did kind of grind through. Pitched 6 innings, and he ended the 6th inning on 86 pitches with a strikeout. He was real pumped up. I was disappointed that Madden took him out. I know he was up to bat in the bottom of the 6th first. Even if he gets one out, is it a big deal? The announcers, I didn't like all their takes on ESPN last night, A-Rod and Jesse and the other guy. But I did agree. I think they should have kept Lester in at least one more inning, maybe 2. They said maybe 120 pitches. So he's proven he's a guy that gets better. As he gets going, he's an effective, late October pitcher, September pitcher. But that's why Madden gets paid the big bucks. Pinch hit Hap, which that can be questionable, but it did work out where he did draw a walk. Then Sobers got out. Bryant gets on an error. So we had guys in first and second. First time throughout the game that we had an opportunity, guy in scoring position, but couldn't get anything done through the 6th inning. Go through the 7th inning, and we bring in Chavez, which the scary part is this is his 3rd game in a row. Pitched 3 innings in the other 2 games. Gave up like a 1-out hit, but he was able to pitch around that. So awesome addition, Chavez. Have to see if we keep him next year, but he was one of our best this year. Definitely a transaction that helped us out in the mid-season. Bottom of the 7th, and you felt like, is Freeland ever going to get out of the game? His pitch count was not high. I guess managers get concerned during the playoffs. They took him out with 2 outs in the 7th. Cubs ended up getting bases loaded. It looked like they got something going against the reliever, but they couldn't. They left him stranded. So missed opportunity. Cubs still down 1-0. Going to the 8th inning, wondering who's going to pitch. Madden mentioned before the game the plan was Lester, Chavez, maybe a lefty, then Hamels. So he's staying on course. He brings in Rosario. Could have brought in Justin Wilson, could have brought in De La Rosa, but he went with Rosario. Rosario, he started off great in the year, and then his ERA jumped up. He was our main Iowa call-up that pitched the most. He kind of went back and forth to, rotate new guys in, give us a break in the bullpen. Rosario walked a guy, and then he pitched around it and pitched a scoreless 8th inning, got out with a double play. that was a real close call. Going to second. So pretty cool. Rosario got it done. And 8th inning, wondering if the Cubs can finally get something going. Rizzo gets on with a hit. You hate to take Rizzo out in a late game, but this is do or die. We bring in Gore to pinch run. Steals second easily. That was cool. Still have two. We have 2 outs with Baez up. He was our RBI leader this year. And Baez comes through with a nice hit. Gore scores pretty easily, and Baez gets a second. I was surprised he got a double out of that, so it was a lot of hustle. So we're up 1-1. We got the game tied in the bottom of the 8th. It would have been nice if Cubs could have mustered in the go-ahead run, but Baez left stranded on second. Go to the 9th inning, and we bring in Strop. Strop, who was pretty effective in Morrow's absence, and then hurt his hamstring and September 13th. So it's been about 3 weeks he's been out. I was shocked that he made it back. Gave up 1 hit, like a 1-out hit, but he didn't walk anyone, and he struck out 2. He's pumped up. Pretty good performance by Strop. Really proved a lot this year. Got a lot done in high-stakes situations. Not an easy situation, with Morrow out, him being the closer. But here he just kept the Cubs tied at 1. We have a chance to win walk-off fashion in the 9th. Don't get it done. We had some opportunities in the extra innings, and we were 1 for 6 with runners on. Finished the game with like 6 hits, 5 walks. We got a few breaks, like there was a catcher's interference. For some reason, Tommy Listelli gets involved in catcher's interference, but whatever, he got to first base, and that was pretty cool. And so we got a break there. That put the bases loaded, but we didn't do anything at the time. And Bryant got a break with a hit to right field. They call it a single, but that's a play the guy kind of overran as he was nearing foul territory, but it was fair. It was just really a bad play. Should have been an out on Bryant. And, during extra innings, after Strop pitched a 9, 10th and 11th, Hamels came in. So that was really part of the plan. I guess Madden trying to save our starters, but, it doesn't matter for the next series if we don't win this wild card game. We're done. Hamels, he gave up a hit in the 10th and the 11th inning, but he was able to pitch around. I think he even walked a guy. So 3 base runners. Gets a little bit scary when you can't afford to give up a run. But he got through it. 2 shutout innings. 12th and 13th, we bring in Hendricks. So the theme every time our pitcher got up in the batting order is when the next inning we bring in a new pitcher. So they were coming in. Well, I guess back to Rosario, too. We did bring in Cisick, which scares me. He pitched 80 games, and he got it done. So Hendricks, he came in with 1 out in the 12th, and he got 2 outs, 2 fly outs. 13th inning, he ended up giving up 3 hits in a row with 2 outs. Very disappointing. It was nothing fancy. Maybe something we could have did. I don't know if we were swinging for the fences. We tried to bunt. We tried to do other things. Just couldn't. Only generated 1 big hit. Baez had a single or a double when Gore got on and stole second. But yeah, I guess eventually something had to happen. It was nothing fancy. Their backup catcher, not a good hitter, but got it done. Scrapped through a hit, 2-1. We bring in De La Rosa to get the last out after Hendricks is pulled. So went an inning and a third, gave up 3 hits, unfortunately. 2 out hits. He was 1 strike away from getting out of it. So we lose 2-1. I don't blame Hendricks. 13 innings. We held the team scoreless from the second inning until that point. Lester only gave up 1 run. Maybe man could have kept Lester in another inning, but it didn't seem to make much difference. We just couldn't get the offense going, and unfortunately, 2 big games in a row, the other team's celebrating on our field. So disappointing. There'll be a lot of tough decisions that Theo will have to make. We'll see if that affects Madden's job. I don't know. I kind of like Madden. I think he did the best he can with the pitchers. We didn't have enough great ones in Iowa. Mills stepped up. Rosario, some other guys here and there stepped up from Iowa. Need to get, maybe that Albert Elzaway can force the issue. He's our top arm prospect, and then he gets injured. We know Darvish was didn't get much out of him. He was shut down for the year. Chatwood was ineffective. Morrow was great when we had him, like in the mid-1 ERA, but missed, half the year. With some of the bats, you had Bryant out like 60 games and just didn't have the same Bryant for sure, even when he did play. I mean, somewhere around like a 270 average, 350 on-base percentage. You take that for most guys, but Bryant is, more that 290 and close to 400 on-base percentage. You expect a lot more power. Hit like 12 home runs. Wilson Contreras only hit 10 home runs, and I think he played more than last year because he was out for like 5 weeks with the hamstring injury when he was playing like the MVP, offensive MVP for a good month and a half, I would say, until he got injured. He had like 21 homers, but so we'll see if that falls under the hitting coach. A lot of criticism on Chili Davis, and we'll see what happens. We made a lot of changes last year after getting beat by the Dodgers in the NL Championship, and we did win 95 games. That was successful. 95 games. Usually that's good enough to win a division. Would have been a lot of other divisions. They won less the year before and won the division. This year they finished tied with Milwaukee. Milwaukee wins a tiebreaker game. So that was kind of heartbreaking, having either the tie or the lead in the division since August 1st and lose it at the very end. Plus, it was kind of a perfect storm between Mother Nature, the way the schedule worked out, making up games, playing all these games in a row. Not easy, but you would think it'd have more of a toll on the pitchers, and the pitchers overall got it done. They had some ups and downs, but statistically, their ERAs, we lost a lot of these games 2-1 or 3-2. Where the offense, we even brung in Murphy. Murphy did finish with like a 10-game hitting streak. Here in this game, he got intentionally walked, but I think he had a few hard hit balls, but he couldn't get a hit. So we'll see. Cubs may shake things up. Possibly we're hearing Bryce Harper. That's a guy that's a 400 on-base percentage this year. Some people call it a down year this year. His average wasn't the best, but he did step things up second half. He had over 100 RBIs, 100 runs scored, 100 walks, somewhere around a 400 on-base percentage. His best year, he's like a 430. That seems to be an upgrade over Schwarber. Schwarber looks like he has that potential. He's a first-round pick, but it just seems like when the game's on the line, when runners are in scoring position, doesn't get many big hits. I think he hit 200 runners in scoring position, and a lot of his home runs were like solo home runs or 2-run homers. They can help, but you'd like to see more of the 2-out big home run, 3-run homers, just a double or single with a guy in third, or sacrifice fly. Just not quite enough to make a difference. So you look at his home runs and then his RBIs are kind of low, too, for being a power hitter. Kind of reminds you of Sammy Sosa. I know Sosa probably had a 5 or 6 good years, or RBIs are good and stuff, but he had a lot of games where solo home runs or meaningless home runs where he hits one when we're up by 5 already or something like that. So we'll see. Last year, the offseason, there was a lot of anxiety. It was taking forever. Some players like Jake didn't sign till the season was already beginning. Took Cubs a while to negotiate and get a deal done with Darvish. Things went really slow in the offseason. We'll have to see where Cubs are at. As far as starting pitchers, you technically have 6 if you were to bring Hamels back, and then if Chatwood were to win his job back. Plus we have Smiley, who didn't quite make it back, rehabbing from Tommy John, but he'll be in the mix. And we'll see. If not, he's always been a starter, but there may not be room for him. But it's nice to have backup support, too. I mean, the way this year went with Darvish not giving many starts, and then you have Chatwood that had to be replaced, ineffectiveness. Hamels was a good boost. He only really had one bad start, but a lot of quality starts. A lot of amazing, 0 runs, 1 run. Help gave us a boost when we need it. Especially, I'd say, in the middle of the year, starting pitching. Seen a lot of regression where guys weren't getting six innings. So it's kind of interesting. Lester, we have 2 more years. A 3rd year is an option that we can bring him back. And now Arrieta, he has 2 more years of team control. So it's up to the Cubs year by year, unless they want to negotiate a long-term contract, they can do that. Looks like Hendricks, he ended up finished with a 3.4 ERA, so I would think he's coming back. He had some struggles early on, felt more locked in later on. He had 3 games in a row where he got close to a complete game. That was huge, especially with a bullpen pitching every day, with starters not going deep enough, and then also all these consecutive games, so that helped. So he'll probably be back. Now Quintana, his contract's set up where we have him for 2 more years if we want him. Does have a buyout for $1 million. So if Cubs felt like they could do better, his ERA was somewhere around like a 4.1, 4.2. Had some ups and downs with him. Didn't have as many strikeouts this year, and then his ERA wasn't as great. But we have him 2 more years if we want him. So we'll see how that plays out. And there's Montgomery, which down the stretch I think he only had 1 out of 5 games since his return where he made it 6 innings or more. Sometimes he looks like he could be a good back-end rotation guy, but he doesn't strike out a lot of guys either. And so I don't know. I think we could do better than Montgomery, but we'll see. Theo could be a little bit snakebite. We signed, Darvish for like $21 million a year, and we signed Chatwood for right around $13 million. So $35 million committed to at least 2 more years with Chatwood, whether we keep him or not, and then Darvish another 5 years. And we didn't get anything out of that $34 million. So that's pretty disappointing. I guess it's amazing Cubs made it this far without, 40% of your starting rotation. Then if you look at from 2016, we were missing 3 guys, for the normal, we had Lester and Hendricks as the only guys from 2016. Last year we got Quintana in a trade, which I thought was a good trade. I didn't expect him to be an ace. He did pretty well for us the second half of last year and had some ups and downs this year. But we kind of had to do it. So that way we were going into 2018 and we had to figure out two more pitchers, basically replacing Lackey and Arrieta. So give me an interesting offseason, some things that could happen. Russell, kind of a weird deal. I don't know if I hate to blame it as an excuse. It caused a distraction for the team, but they weren't getting a whole lot of them out of him. But with the domestic violence investigation after his ex-wife came out about some abuse allegations on her blog, and so he's suspended for the rest of the year. And as far as him and Brian are part of the Super 2, where they have 3 more years of arbitration team control. He was making $3 million this year. Second year, I don't know if he'd make the same or worse. Kind of look at numbers and stuff. He'd probably be thankful to come back to the Cubs if he's wanted. I don't know how long it can take MLB, if they're able to prove one way or another that he did these things or not. And I wouldn't think he could suspend it for the whole year. But then if he is found to be guilty, there could be criticism against the Cubs bringing him back. So we'll see. Personally, I was kind of thinking before this came out that they would trade Russell in the offseason. I don't know what he'd demand, but he did pretty good. His defensive WAR was still pretty good. He's got a good range at shortstop. I think Cubs would be fine with Bias at short. And then they could figure out, if they bring in Machado, then Bias stays at second. It would be an upgrade offensively over Russell, Russell, like his career is like in the 240s. He has a decent walk rate, but 2016 was his best year with 21 homers, 95 RBIs, a lot of clutch hitting. But I don't know what he hit, like 6 homers. He didn't hit many home runs, but did miss a lot of time, but definitely nowhere near low RBIs, low hitting with runners on, power down. So he missed some time kind of grinding through injuries, but last couple years doesn't look like he's going to give the Cubs a spark enough. Looks like we can upgrade, at least on the offensive side, over him. We don't have anyone really ready in the minors. We did draft a shortstop, Nico Horner. He was looking well and got to low A ball after he's drafted, and then he gets hurt. So I'm not sure if he's playing fall ball right now, but that's still at least a few years away. And you got to be careful rushing guys from the minor. There's some criticism that maybe some of our hitters were rushed up too quick. I don't think they were. We don't bring up like a 19-year-old guy. The quickest guys that came up were Schwarber and Bryant. And I don't know. It just maybe kind of a off year for Bryant because he was great all the other years. Maybe not as many RBIs last year. So we'll see. A lot of our core guys will be coming back. They're under team control. That's why kind of some people view it as disappointing that we have most of the same hitters since our 2016 championship run. And we're having one run and 13 inning performances, a couple games in a row. And the game before was not against a great pitcher, Shazin, and some of the bullpens are all right for Milwaukee, that Haters and all-star. But I seen him get hit off over the last few weeks, gave up homers, and other teams with not the best hitters got it done. So it's disappointing. So we'll see how this plays out, what tough decisions are made. With the right decisions, players getting back on track. I know some of the post-game interviews, this ballpark game, they're pretty disappointing. They're still pretty confident. They like their teammates. And so they're going to come back hungry, I would think. Hopefully they I know Bias has a chip on his shoulder, doesn't like all the negativity, all the criticism. Uh, he certainly did everything he can to will us a victory, got the game tied. Uh, I'm not saying he does still have some weaknesses. I did see him draw some more walks as the season ended, which that's some growth for him. Him improving his on-base percentage, the way he's great on the bases. He stole like 20 bases. He could probably steal more if he gets on more. Does a lot of amazing things. He's on base. But right now in his career, he's mainly getting on base if he gets a hit. Hit 290. Pretty good year at the plate. Had some huge hits in the clutch. Got 111 RBIs, like 34 homers. So he had his best year. Definitely deserved to be all-star. And he's in the MVP consideration. They're probably going to give it to Yelich, but he might be second or third. So he'll negotiate a big increase his first year of arbitration. He'll make a lot more than his $600,000 he makes this year, put it that way. I know Bryant made $11 million his first year in arbitration, so we'll see if he gets close to that. Well, it's always fun watching the Cubs. Disappointing when they lose. We'll see if they can be more consistent next year, get over 100 wins, win this division again. You have to do it in the offseason too. One thing I think Brewers, Yelich and King, and they made some good transactions. All-Star break, and we'll see. I think the AL teams will be the ones that win it. So probably between the Brewers and Dodgers for the NL Championship, and then there's three pretty good AL teams between Boston, the Yankees, and Houston. Seem to be a lot better than the NL teams. Kind of a weird year where Cubs were best record in the NL majority of the second half, and they still couldn't clinch the division. Last day they couldn't get it clinched with the win. They lost the day before. That was, you could look back at one game, but so they had to settle for a tie, and then they lose game 163. So they went from the number one NL team to a wild card team to losing in the wild card game. So it is what it is. Disappointing finish, and we'll see what decisions they make in the offseason to help the team make better. Hopefully the team's healthy next year. Like to get more out of Darvish, and it will be interesting. Could have some big trades, big free agent signings. Go Cubs, go.